What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Rundown with Zinga. I'm your host, Zinga, and today we are going to discuss a very pressing issue. And in all honesty, depending on how America responds to this issue, it can make or break the country. And that issue is...
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the... You know the thing.
I know what haters are going to say. Zinga's petty, Zinga's mean, Zinga's heartless. Well, that very well may be true, but you can never call me a liar. And with that being said, let's get into the truth about Joe Biden's mental capacity to be the new leader of the free world. So turn up the volume on your computer, your phone, your tablet, and...
play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on.
Because...
words matter a lot.
To be clear, I'm not putting Joe Biden down. What's happening to him could happen to anyone when they hit that age. But because the Democrats are touting this man as the new leader who's going to save us from another 4 years of Trump, we can't let them get away with that. Therefore, we must make fun of them mercilessly. So first of all, I think it's time that every Democrat, every left-leaning voter, every never Trumper face the facts that Joe ain't Joe no mo. He's only a shell of the man he once was. He's telling stories that never happened of people that were never born. For instance, Corn Pop.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
His sentences are nonsensical, and when he begins a phrase, he has a hard time finishing it.
Look, why am I stopping? No one else stops.
Okay. You know how people that speak in front of crowds for a living, they get on a roll and the crowd starts cheering and they start to exhort the crowd and the crowd cheers in agreement. Our own Mark Robinson, who's running for lieutenant governor, does this seamlessly. Well, when Joe Biden does it and he gets the crowd cheering, he completely loses his train of thought.
We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
And when the world was opened up and folks could actually leave their home coronavirus, he was rude to potential voters when they asked him questions that he had no answer to. Now, us right-leaning folks like a bit of rudeness when it's necessary. When you're telling the truth or knocking some pompous CNN reporter off their high horse, it seems necessary at that point. But Joe Biden does it because he doesn't know how to answer the question.
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you. No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Look, Pat, here's the deal.
Oh my God. In the short amount of time that I have, I think I'm making a pretty darn good case as to why no one should vote for Joe Biden in November. But I can still feel some of you just thinking that I'm a petty, mean, heartless Republican making fun of the opposition. But to back up my claim, I've invited someone on the show, a diagnostician of the human mind, Dr. E.J. Jones. EJ, are you there? How you doing?
Hello, Zinga. How are you? Glad to be here.
So am I. I'm really excited to hear your diagnosis of Joe Biden. What news do you have for me?
Well, Zinga, I do wish that I could say the same about my diagnosis. You know, the brain, the human mind is very complicated, very delicate. But upon months of observation, I do have to diagnose Joe Biden as bat crazy.
Dr. Jones, are you sure? That diagnosis is pretty serious. We are talking about the Democratic presidential nominee.
I'm quite sure. Joe Biden has, in fact, lost his ever-loving mind.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Jones, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure my audience does as well.
Indeed. Well, I'm only here to help. You have a good day.
Well, that diagnosis explains why Joe Biden talks as if he's got mush in his mouth as well. Let's watch this clip again and listen a little bit more closely just before he insults the voter.
No, we're live.
He sounds like a freaking mumble rapper.
Follow me! Follow me!
What? And it's clear as day that Joe Biden has zero control. Not only does he not have control over his mouth and the things that he says or even his syntax, but but he doesn't have control over his own decisions. Do you really think an 80-year-old man who can't tell his wife from his sister wants to be on the campaign trail for president? Joe Biden should be retired on a beach somewhere sipping a mojito. He lived a long life. He had a family, raised kids, served his country, even though we disagree with the way that he did that. But here's the biggest issue that I have with the Joe Biden gaffes. He isn't in control. He isn't calling the shots. Radical Democrats are. He will go wherever they tell him, say whatever they want him to say if he can muster up the words, and he will be whatever they want him to be if he makes it to the Oval Office and they want him to be as left-leaning as possible. Because remember, these radical Democrats, they hate everything that makes America America. Should we fight tooth and nail to make sure he doesn't win? Yes. Will I continue to laugh at his gaffes? Here's one more gaffe that I think we all remember and love.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Well, I'm not voting for Joe Biden in November.
Hey, what's going on? I feel kind of weird.
Well, that's the rundown, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week.